We are entering the electoral arena to give voice to all of the struggles that we are engaged in the streets, at the barricades, in our schools, in our workplaces, and in our communities. The electoral system in the United States is fundamentally a fraudulent exercise. It is a form by which the ruling class maintains class rule. It is designed to give the appearance that people actually have a choice, that those who constitute the government are elected by the people. In fact, as I mentioned earlier, the people don't have the right to make basic decisions or to vote on the basic decisions that most affect their lives. They get the right to elect a Republican or a Democrat, but both of these parties are nothing more than the expression of the power, the undiluted power of the 1%. It's estimated that in the 2012 campaign that the Republican candidate and the Democratic candidate together will spend more than $2 billion. This is an election that's dominated by money, by the corporations, and by the banks. No candidate who can't raise $1 billion stands a chance. This is not a democracy, it's a plutocracy. It's of, by, and for wealth. Working people don't have the right to a job, or the right to affordable education, or the right to health care, or the right to a home, but they have the right to elect the politicians of the plutocracy. The debates on TV are completely monopolized by the ruling class parties, the parties of the 1%. Socialist candidates and independent candidates are kept out of the televised debates, and they are kept out of the news coverage. They are treated from the get-go as fringe candidates who don't have a chance. Just to get on the ballot requires overcoming huge, undemocratic obstacles placed in the path of the working class candidates placed by the ruling class. In California, for instance, the largest state in the country, we would have to collect over 300,000 signatures just to have the name PSL on the ballot. Each state has its own electoral laws, each of them representing another obstacle for third parties or independent candidates. There is such a huge separation between the reality of American politics, which is really the politics of, by, and for the 1%, versus the narrative that we are a representative democracy and everyone has an equal say. The benefit of having elections for the ruling class is that every 4 years, the oppressed working class gets to choose between two capitalist politicians who will oppress them. But it gives the appearance of variety, it gives the appearance of choice, it gives the appearance of a democracy. The elections are in that way something of a safety valve, a way for discontented people to channel their discontent into support for this or that politician. Both of them are completely loyal to Wall Street and corporate banking domination. Look at what happened in Greece this week. The Greek Prime Minister sent the entire European and US banking establishment into a state of hysteria and panic and near meltdown when he said that the Greek people should have a vote in a referendum about the austerity program being shoved down their throats by the European banking community. Greek workers have lost 30% of their living standard in a matter of months so that the wealth of Greek society can be used to pay the capitalist bankers. Now they want to impose more austerity as the basis for another bailout, again, a bailout of the other European banks. The rest of the European ruling class, from Germany, from France, and of course the United States ruling class as well, acted as if the Greek Prime Minister had committed an act of treason by saying that the Greek people should have a vote about whether the Greek people should have a say and whether there be further cuts or layoffs. Stock markets plunged all over the world in response to this idea, something of an irony given how much we learn about Athenian democracy in school. Under pressure from international capital, the Greek Prime Minister did an about-face and canceled the referendum. Like I said, the electoral system is, again, nothing more than a sham. It's an exercise in plutocracy. There are no workers in Congress. 1% of the US population are millionaires, but 50% of the members of Congress are millionaires. And so is the president, and so are the members of the Supreme Court. There are no trade unionists who are members of Congress. The US Senate is an even bigger millionaires club preserved for rich white men. When Barack Obama was elected to the Senate in 2004, he was only the third black president who had served in the Senate in its over 200 years. In the last year, the US Congress, with the support of the president, cut $11 billion from early childhood programs. The same US Congress cut exactly the same amount, $11 billion, from tax cuts from millionaire estates. The same Congress cut $9 billion from low-income housing programs and gave $9 billion, the same amount, in tax cuts for the vacation homes of the already wealthy. Recognizing, brothers and sisters, that this electoral system is of, by, and for the 1%, we in the PSL have nonetheless decided to enter into the fray. We have entered into the electoral arena at the very same time that we stay in the streets, demonstrating and protesting, carrying out meetings, rallies, forums, and job actions. We hope to carry the spirit of last week's general strike in Oakland into this coming year. We are going into the electoral arena because tens of millions of people will be drawn to the elections in 2012. They'll be thinking about the elections, they'll be following it on the news, and even though we know it is the terrain of the class enemy, we will enter with the same spirit of struggle that we take in every other area of our lives and the lives of working people. We will represent the unemployed, the foreclosed, the evicted. We will represent the students who can't pay their student loans, and we will raise the demand that the ill-begotten wealth of the biggest banks should be seized and used to create a massive jobs program so that every unemployed person can work. We will demand to seize the assets and profits of the banks and end all student loans. We will also demand amnesty and full rights for all immigrants. From our point of view, a worker is a worker regardless of their country of origin, and all workers deserve rights. We will take the slogan of the Occupy movement, banks got bailed out, we got sold out, straight into the electoral arena. So as you can see, sisters and brothers, this is not a normal election campaign. We hope that you will join with us, participate in the campaign, become a voice of the program, become a volunteer in spreading the message, and join us in this exciting new period. The people are rising. It's time to stand up and fight back.